Top weighted 25 to 1 shot, Supreme Choice, ridden by Darrell Holland. The big gamble of the race, Vintage Crop, the Mount of Water Swinburne, is number 2. Number 3, Quick Ransom, ridden by Dean McEwen. Number 4, Specificity, Michael Roberts. Number 5, Hytham, Gary Carter. Star Player doesn't run. Number 7, Bardolph, is the Mount of Neil Kennedy. He claims a 5. Number 8 is Lord Hasty, Joe Fanning. 9, Mulhouse, Darren Biggs, a 16 to 1 shot. 10, Majestic Image, David Harrison claims a 3. Number 11, 3 Wells, Visored, Tyrone Williams. Number 12, Say Lad, Visored, ridden by Nick Carlisle. 13, Cabochon, Willie Carson. 14, Ord Labelle is a 14 to 1 shot. Francis Norton rides. 15, Requested, Seamus O'Gorman claims 3, but puts up a bit of overweight on this 33 to 1 outsider. 16, Farrat, John Lowe, the man in form this week. Number 17, Muse, is ridden by Brett Doyle, who claims 5. Number 18, Sharjat, Antoine at Arms claims 7, 100 to 1 for her. 19, Black Sapphire Visored, Mark Humphries claims 7. Number 20, Cowser, Nick Adams. 21, Welshman, a front runner, Gary Barbwell on board. Number 22, Go South, Blinkered, Steve Dawson takes the mount this year. 23, Jack Button, Jimmy Quinn. 24, Coleridge, Blinkered, Danny Wright, 66 to 1 if that one wins. And 25, Smiling at Strangers, 100 to 1 shot for Carl Hawksley.
Crop now, 13 to 2, Cabochon, 10 bar those, overdue ground.
And Coleridge was a little bit slow to go. Watching the monitor with you as before we get to go through the first quarter mile or so. Supreme Choice is up there early. Also Welshman, normally a front runner, different kettle of fish front running here than it is at Chester for the Chester Cup, but it is indeed Welshman who leads, and Requested through on the inside. These are the 1-2. With Bardolph settled third, Ord Labelle on the outside 4, and just in behind these comes Jack Button, and Cars are not that far away. At this stage, looking for Vintage Crop, and it's just got about 4 or 5 behind. Well positioned down the field at this stage. Welshman leading, Requested in second. Then nearest to us in those blue and white colours, that's Cowser and Ord Labelle in the leading 4. Followed through by Hytham and Muse holding a position. And they're all effectively quite closely grouped as they go to the first half mile. Say Lad is in mid-division on the inside. Cabochon tucked away mid-division, and they've come into Rawley's view now.
Yes, Graham, they've covered just over 3.5 furlongs. It's Welshman still who leads the Cesarewitch field. Welshman out in front from Requested, well placed in second. Also up amongst the leaders now, Ord Labelle. After them, Muse is prominent, so too Smiling at Strangers. The back markers at this stage are 3 Wells and finally Coleridge. But as they come now down towards the end of the first 3/4 of a mile, Welshman over against the rails in the lead from Bardolph, runner-up last year. Also with those 2 leaders is Corzar. They're followed by Requested in 4. 5 is Muse, and then in 6th place Smiling at Strangers. After these Say Lad and then Mulhouse. Supreme Choice is midfield together with the favourite for Ireland, Vintage Crop, and after them comes Jack Button. They've covered the first mile now, and Welshman over on the rails. On the outside is Corzar. Between the two is still Bardolph running a blinder. And they're now coming inside the final 1.25 miles with Corzar and Welshman disputing it still. After those two, and very close is Ord Labelle. Ord Labelle in third, and then 4 Requested. And they're now coming down to halfway in the Tote Cesarewitch with Corzar in front. Corzar 1, and then Bardolph 2, Welshman 3, Requested 4. After them 5 is Hytham, 6 is Ord Labelle losing ground. After that one, Say Lad was Smiling at Strangers, Jack Button, Mulhouse, and then Supreme Choice followed by Farrat, then Quick Ransom, who is on a hat-trick but has a £4 penalty. After him Cabochon, and then the favourite for Ireland, Vintage Crop, the back markers, Lord Hasty with a Coleridge, and then last year's 33 to 1 when it goes south. He's got a lot to do. The last 3 are 3 Wells, Sharjat, and finally, last of all, in 24th place is Black Sapphire. They're on the way down towards the final 5 furlongs now of the Cesarewitch, with the runners still plenty closely grouped together, with Bardolph, the leader. Ord Labelle is coming again. Farrat and Welshman still there. Only just over half a mile to go, and it's now back to Graham.
And Muse isn't that far away either. Vintage Crop, that's a horse with a nose bang, getting significantly closer, really having to stay on now. Bardolph going for home. Ord Labelle, Farrat in the grey colours on the far side. Specificity in the blue cap comes with a run, drat it. And then behind these comes the Vintage Crop ridden along, and they've come past the 3. And as they race down past the bushes, it's Ord Labelle and Farrat and Specificity, and then comes Vintage Crop with just in behind these Bardolph. Coleridge in the orange cap starts to pick up. Supreme Choice with a run. Our say lads behind these. Quick Ransom won't be winning, but it's the favourite Vintage Crop going into the lead as they go past the furlong marker, and the favourite's going to win this in no uncertain fashion, going 4, 5, 6 clear up towards the line. They're strung out a furlong between first and last, and it's Vintage Crop for Ireland lands a massive gamble, and Vintage Crop takes it from Specificity in second. Farrat was third, Coleridge fourth, Smiling at Strangers 5, then came Bardolph, followed by Jack Buttons and Ord LaBelle, and Quick Ransom and Go South and Muse and Our Say Lad, and Cabochon and Three Wells, and then Mulhouse and Kazar and Supreme Choice, and Black Sapphire, and behind these Sharjat, a Majestic Image at Hytham, and Requested was one of the last to finish. And so the result then of this, the Tote Cesarewitch, it's been landed by the gamble. Number 2, Vintage Crop has won it, completing that double for both the Cambridgeshire and the Cesarewitch, and it's the second horse home. That's number 4, Specificity, and it's very close for third place with the third horse going to number 16, Farrat, and it's close for 4.
First, number 2, Vintage Crop, 5-1 favourite. Second, number 4, Specificity at 11-1. Third, number 16, Farrat, 20-1. And the fourth horse, number 24, Coleridge, returned at 66-1. The two paid £6.40 the win. The place is £2.30, £2.70, £4.10 and £28.40. The dual forecast came to £30 and 10 pence, non-runner 6 and 24 runs.
Ready, light, and they're off. Drum taps began well to a big roar from the crowd. Cavalieri dropped in behind them with Great Vintage. Silk Harley began fast. Vintage Crop was away smartly as just behind them. Drum taps going forward, so is Maracas and Young Pirate. Just behind them is Frontier Boys. They settle down. Our Pompeii working across the field, so is the Phantom. Fra is the widest runner heading towards the front now. Castletown, Mercator and Diamond Bases settling towards the rear. But they're pretty tightly bunched with the Caulfield Cup winner Fra at the 400 the first time. Working over to the rail in front of Maracas. Running third is the Phantom on the outside. Just behind them is Tiako Nick going forward, and then Drum Taps and Vintage Crop together. Our Tristolite around them, and they're followed further back. Our Pompeii, Silk Harley pulling his head off on the inside from Young Pirate, Slight Chance. Frontier Boy is next, followed by Field Officer, and then Tennessee Jack. Ultimate Aim is next, followed by Cavalieri. Sub-Zero well back on the inside, and then Air Seattle inclined to reef a little bit at the post the first time. Next, Great Vintage, Dancing Lord, followed Castletown. The Sydney Cup winner Azama's third last. Diamond Bases and Mercator are the last two. Out of the straight to the riverside now, and Tiako Nick at work to the lead from Frontier Boy. Fra from near the outside has settled on the rail third. The Phantom is fourth on the outside. One Maracas inclined to pull a bit here. They're followed by Drum Taps, well placed. Our Tristolite caught 3 wide as she was in the Caulfield Cup. 2 lengths to Vintage Crop, Silk Harley and our Pompeii together. 1 further back in the field came Young Pirate, and then Slight Chance, followed by Tennessee Jack on the rail. Then Frontier Boy, Sub-Zero, Ultimate Aim and Great Vintage. Further back as Cavalieri, Dancing Lord the rail. 1.5 lengths further back as Air Seattle, Mercator. Second last is Castletown, and 2 or 3 lengths last of all is Diamond Bases. They've gone past the halfway mark, less than 1,600 to go in the Melbourne Cup, and Tiako Nick is the leader from Frontier Boy. Fra is 2 lengths away, having a lovely run, so too the Phantom on his outside. 1.5 lengths Maracas, who's still fighting the rider. Drum Taps travel sweetly next on the outside. They're followed by Silk Harley, with those as Vintage Crop and our Tristolite. 1.5 lengths to Tennessee Jack, our Pompeii, Young Pirate. Further back is Sub-Zero, last year's winner, in about the middle of the field on the rail from Slight Chance. Back behind those horses then in the field, 1.5 lengths away is Dancing Lord and Great Vintage, Ultimate Aim. Back behind those, Field Officer about the middle of the field. Further back in the field then came Cavalieri, Mercator, Azam. Well back, coming up passing the 800 metre mark now is Air Seattle and Castletown, and last of all is Diamond Bases. Frontier Boy raced up to Tiako Nick. They're in search of the home turn, and 2 lengths further back is the Phantom. Further back in the field is Fra, hard ridden. Then Drum Taps under some pressure. Maracas over on the fence when they sweep into the straight now. Tennessee Jack with a run, and our Pompeii out wider. Tiako Nick turned in front of Frontier Boy. 2 lengths, Maracas third. Then came Fra, the Phantom down the outside, followed by Vintage Crop coming with a run now, and Tennessee Jack on the outside. Tiako Nick still in front at the 300. Led Frontier Boy 1.5 lengths further back. Vintage Crop, he's coming home, the Irish galloper. Tiako Nick is in front of Frontier Boy. Vintage Crop is a danger, and Great Vintage is late. Tiako Nick, but Vintage Crop has got him. Vintage Crop, the Irish horse will win the Melbourne Cup. Vintage Crop, 2 lengths. Tiako Nick Quick just held second. Mercator flashed up for third. Fourth, Great Vintage a gap front of your boy Tennessee Jack. Then Drum Taps followed further back in the field by Maracas. Next to finish was the Phantom, Our Pompeii. They were trailed Cavalieri, Sub-Zero, Castletown, Young Pirate. They're followed by Azam, Dancing Lord, Air Seattle, Castletown, Ultimate Aim, Slight Chance. Further back in the field to finish here is Silk Ali, and Diamond Bases is last. The Irish Raider has taken the Melbourne Cup. Number 6. Number 6 is first, Vintage Crop, ridden by Michael Canane.
Morley Street, Ascot Gold Cup, established in 1807, will be under orders, and that's it. 2.5 miles, and they're running, and Morley Street just dwells a little in the stalls, and Arcadian Heights going on in the early stages. Arcadian Heights from Carouge over on the far side, then Vintage Crop and Sonus, and My Patriarch with Cash Asmussen trying to relax My Patriarch. He's being followed by Safety and Numbers. And then Morley Street, who made up that ground, Oh So Risky in the back marker, Rain Trap, and Arcadian Heights making it from Carouge. Carouge, Nigel Twiston-Davis is Scottish champion hurdle winner and his first ever runner at Royal Ascot, in second here with Vintage Crop, the favourite. Third, then Sonus and My Patriarch, with Cash covering up My Patriarch to the best of his ability, trying to relax him. He's still taking a pretty strong hold though, being followed by Safety and Numbers. Pat Edery has eased Rain Trap a little bit closer to the lead. Morley Street is next, and then the one-time Prix Gladiateur winner, Oh So Risky, the back marker, and Arcadian Heights, the leader, as they come down to the winning post with another complete circuit. And Arcadian Heights from Carouge, Vintage Crop and Sonus and My Patriarch, and then comes Rain Trap, Safety and Numbers, Morley Street, and finally Oh So Risky. Arcadian Heights by a couple of lengths from Carouge. The favourite, who's taken a pretty strong hold on Michael Canane, in third. 4 is Sonus, 5 My Patriarch, 6 is Rain Trap, as they begin the run down towards Swinley Bottom. Just 1.5 miles to run now in the Gold Cup, and Arcadian Heights the leader from Carouge. Then Vintage Crop, then Sonus, then My Patriarch, who's taking a very strong hold still under Cash Asmussen. Behind him comes Rain Trap, Safety and Numbers, Morley Street, and then Oh So Risky. Arcadian Heights by a couple of lengths from Carouge, who's 3 lengths up on Vintage Crop, 1.5 lengths then to Sonus, 1.5 lengths, or a length possibly only to My Patriarch, a gap of 2 then to Rain Trap, then Safety and Numbers, Morley Street, and Oh So Risky. Running down into Swinley Bottom, and still Arcadian Heights with My Patriarch tugging his way up there, in fact, to challenge him and take it up with a mile. Cash Asmussen clearly sees no point in continuing a battle with him. He's hoping to relax him in front. He's gone to the front on My Patriarch, with Arcadian Heights second. Vintage Crop is third. Oh So Risky's making a good run from the rear now. 7 furlongs to run, and it's My Patriarch from Arcadian Heights and Vintage Crop. Then on the outside, Oh So Risky. Behind Oh So Risky, Carouge, and then Sonus. And behind Sonus is Rain Trap. Morley Street is now the back marker, 1 in front of him, and being chased along is Safety and Numbers. And it's My Patriarch from Arcadian Heights, Vintage Crop. Then Oh So Risky on the outside of Carouge. Sonus getting closer. They're well inside the final half mile now. Arcadian Heights goes back to challenge My Patriarch for the lead as they swing into the home straight here at Ascot, and it's Arcadian Heights and My Patriarch, these two from Vintage Crop. Behind them Sonus and Oh So Risky coming home well. Arcadian Heights has gone for home now with the challenger Vintage Crop. Then comes Sonus, and then comes Rain Trap putting in a run as My Patriarch drops out of it. It's Arcadian Heights from Vintage Crop, Arcadian Heights inside the final furlong from Vintage Crop. Arcadian Heights from Vintage Crop as they race up towards the line. Arcadian Heights is holding Vintage Crop. Arcadian Heights is going to win the Gold Cup at the line. Arcadian Heights is the winner. Vintage Crop is second. Sonus is third. Ring Trap 4. Safety numbers 5. 6 is Oh So Risky. 7 is Carouge. 8 is Morley Street. And 9th and last, there was no chance of him getting home. The way he pulled was My Patriarch, and so a sensational result to the 1994 Ascot Gold Cup, and the winner, number 1, Arcadian Heights, owned by Mr. John Pierce, trained by Geoffrey Ragg, and ridden by Michael Hills, puts Michael on the 3-winner mark. And what a fantastic double for the trainer and the rider to complete after their triumph in the Cork Orrery. Second was number 6, the favourite, Vintage Crop, owned by Dr. Michael Smurfit, trained by Michael Cannan, trained by Dermot Weldon, ridden by Michael Cannan. And third was number 5, Sonus, owned by Sheikh Mohammed, trained by John Gosden, and ridden by Frankie Dettori. Fourth was number 8, Rain Trap, and this is the winner, the 20-to-1 winner of the Gold Cup, Arcadian Heights by Shirley Heights out of Miss Longchamp, up by Northfields, owned and bred by John Pierce.
So a sensational winner of the Gold Cup after an extraordinary race. Arcadian Heights in front early on. Sufferance didn't want to be there. Cash Asmussen, a mile out, decided he must go on My Patriarch. Beaten now. Arcadian Heights back in front again early in the straight. And Vintage Crop, who pulled for the first 6 furlongs, never really settled, unable to accelerate after what was for Michael Cannan a deeply unsatisfactory race. Meanwhile, this horse, who a couple of years ago took a bite out of a horse turning in, isn't mad on being in front. Look at that tail of his swishing round, but now a gelding and running to the line with obvious mixed feelings about his day at Ascot, but nonetheless staying on to beat Vintage Crop and land a 20-to-1 shot after a race which went totally against the form book and totally against the script. Michael Hills, with his hand aloft as he passes the post, the winner of the Gold Cup on Arcadian Heights. What a dramatic result, and a stunned crowd in the centre of the course. See the Irish challenger unable to reel in Arcadian Heights, who led for a mile and a half, took it up again in the straight, and has run on to give Michael Hills a memorable win in
Race League at the last in already for the Jefferson Smurfit Memorial Irish St.Leger. A mile and 3/4 ahead of them, and they're away. Off and running, and Clivedon Gale on the outside is the early leader. Clivedon Gale, one of Dermot Wells' 2 runners, making it by just over a length from Bob's Return in second. Portrait Gallery next on the inside of the favourite Vintage Crop, and they're tracked by Gothic Dream. Katanga is next, followed by Ray Seeker, and the back marker by about 4 lengths in the early stages is My Patriarch. And as they stretch along the far side of the Curragh down towards the mile and a half start, it's Clivedon Gale and Pat Shanahan in the lead by almost 2 lengths. Bob's Return in second, then a break of 5 to Vintage Crop. 3 parts of a length away on the inside, Portrait Gallery. As they stretch along now, having covered almost 3 furlongs, Clivedon Gale the leader by a length and a half to Bob's Return, and they've opened up a 7-length gap over Vintage Crop in third. Then Portrait Gallery half a length off the grey comes Gothic Dream, tracked by Katanga. Ray Seeker, the last one in shot, and just coming into picture now, and 3 lengths last is My Patriarch as they run around now, heading towards the mile and a quarter start. Clivedon Gale in front by a length and a half to Bob's Return, who's 8 lengths clear of Vintage Crop. Vintage Crop a length and a half in front of Gothic Dream, and neck away Portrait Gallery. Then Katanga, lengths back, 2 lengths to Ray Seeker, and 4 to My Patriarch and Walter Swinburne at the tail of the field as they run towards the mile marker now. Clivedon Gale from Bob's Return, still a length and a half separating them. They're about 5 in front of Vintage Crop, who's followed all the time by Gothic Dream. Portrait Gallery in touch on the inside. Katanga has 2 behind her at this stage, Ray Seeker and My Patriarch, as they come to the 7th pole, the halfway stage in the Irish Ledger. Clivedon Gale continues to make it, 2 lengths away. Bob's Return second, then a gap of over 4 lengths to Vintage Crop, who's closely followed by Gothic Dream. Katanga beginning a move on the outside. Portrait Gallery's lost a couple of places, about to be joined by Ray Seeker, and still in rear is My Patriarch as they race up the hill towards the 6th furlong pole, and past it it's Clivedon Gale, 2 lengths up on Bob's Return. Vintage Crop's getting closer in third. followed closely by Gothic Dream. Katanga half a length off on the outside. Racika, Portrait Gallery together. 3 lengths last is My Patriarch as they begin the descent. They've less than 5 furlongs to race, and Cliveden Gale's the leader by a length and a half to Bob's Return. 4 lengths Vintage Crop in third. Katanga's gone 4, Gothic Dream 5, Racika 6, Portrait Gallery last but 1, and last of all is My Patriarch as they swing down towards the straight. Cliveden Gale and Pat Shanahan. Bob's Return, Philip Robinson moving up alongside. Vintage Crop is after them in third, and into the turn now with 2.5 furlongs to race. Cliveden Gale towards the left, Bob's Return up the centre of the track. The yellow colours, Vintage Crop, Katanga's 4, Racika 5, Gothic Dreams under pressure. My Patriarch's beginning to make ground. Portrait Gallery's last of all. Inside the 2, and Vintage Crop comes through to take Bob's Return. Katanga's in 3. They're followed in 4th place by Racika, but it's Vintage Crop the leader as they come to the final furlong in the Irish St.Leger. Vintage Crop and McKinnon out in front, 3 lengths clear. Katanga, Racika's running a big race on the stand side, but it's Vintage Crop out in front. He's going to win it for the 2nd consecutive year, and racing up to the line. The favourites home, Vintage Crop, the first leg of the double maybe. Vintage Crop the easy winner, 2nd Racika, 3 Katanga, 4 My Patriarch, 5 is Bob's Return, and they're clear from Cliveden Gale. Then came Portrait Gallery, and Gothic Dream trails in last. So Vintage Crop, the Melbourne Cup winner of last year, has won his 2nd Irish St.Leger. He's returned the 7-4 favourite, and he won that very handily indeed.
Well, this is a high-class race horse, especially over 1 mile and 6 and 2 miles. He swings to the outside of Bob's Return here. For a few moments, he lugged in on top of Bob's Return a bit. All the horses decided to come up the centre of the track. Mick pulls his stick through into his right hand at a few moments there and just gives him a couple of backhanders and peeps under his right shoulder to see how far clear he's gone, and away he goes. He gets every yard of it. Mick gets a couple of more smacks into it. He's going to make no mistakes here. It's a Group 1 mile and 6 Leger here and Ireland, and he goes away to win in impressive fashion. Racika runs on well to be second. Katanga can find no more, and she stays going to be third. But this fella is spot on again for another crack at the Melbourne Cup next year. He's won it in convincing style. He's down in the last half of furlong. Mick can sit up, let him prick his ears and coast in, but he's done it really well. He looks spot on. And